Mr. Mayor. See, the crowd is thinned. Having recently proved that I won't sacrifice my ideals to get elected, for the record, I thought that I would delineate what my experience on the council has shown me and hopefully the citizens of Sierra Vista regarding the existence of several commissions. Here is the list of 7 commissions and sub-entity corporations that I do not think should exist. Number 1, the Citizens Advisory Commission. Number 2, Municipal Property Corporation, the Industrial Development Authority, the Environmental Affairs Commission, Sister Cities Commission, Arts and Humanities Commission, and the Cultural Diversity Commission. Mr. Reardon's favorite. So I can't read anybody's mind. I realize that, and I know that by and large people have very good motivations to be on these councils, and I don't knock that at all. But the last 3, Sister Cities, Arts and Humanities, Cultural Diversity, are not functions of the government. I believe the cultural diversity philosophy is used as a smokescreen for the gay agenda, globalism to weaken the border, and every other, also a smokescreen for every other undefined, yes, undefined, as we just heard here not just a few minutes ago, undefined sexual orientations. It's used as a smokescreen for victim mentality, affirmative action, and involuntary redistribution of wealth, the hallmark of Marxism, which I oppose. The Citizens Advisory Commission should not exist because elected officials should already be aware of any issues that the CAC might give their opinion about. If a city council is liberal, favoring big government, it is almost sure that the CAC will reflect a liberal big government bias. This commission serves only to lend an air of legitimacy to the established opinion and direction of the council and insulates the council from a degree of responsibility for wrong policies like taxes, particularly bed tax. The Municipal Property Corporation should not exist because its purpose is to prevent citizens from voting on incurring debt through bond issues. It is yet another omit the truth strategy employed by the city to grow government and debt. Anyone who would deny that has to answer the simple question, then why didn't you ask the voters about the multi-million dollars of debt and wasted interest for such and such a project? The liberal promises have not come true. We have bike paths, the Cove, a band shell, a good environment, but the local economy is still down. There's a generation which fell for the false promises of Keynesian economics / New Deal-ism of spending your way to prosperity. Last I saw, the current city debt is supposed to be paid off in 2027. Look what we've done to the next generation. $18 billion in federal debt, not counting liabilities. The Industrial Development Authority should not exist because, 1, like the MPC, its bonds are tax-free and thus violate free market principles, competing against bonds that are taxed. You're denying other local banks and their local employees the business opportunity. There's no city audit for the IDA, no oversight from the city as to the financial dealings of the IDA. The IDA has drifted from its mission. This is reason number 3. The IDA has drifted from its mission of bond financing to tax credit financing, which leaves the remaining tax financing or tax burden to be shifted onto other taxpayers. There's no tax reduction without a reduction in government spending. You're just shifting who pays the taxes. I used to think the Environmental Affairs Commission had some good ideas like on-demand water systems, but over the course of my term, I noticed an increased of mandated regulations and suggestions of mandated regulations that I believe would not be in the best interest of the economy of the community, particularly the construction and remodeling industry. Furthermore, members of the EAC consistently propagate the myth of the water shortage, which also hurts the economy. Many times I've noted that commissioners are very fine people, and I just said so a couple times already. Finally, to respond to a fine person and former EAC commissioner we heard from at our last work session regarding local water. Regardless of what the federal government claims as its authority, it has no authority to demand net zero water consumption. The BLM has no authority to retain land which was unrelinquished after statehood. The EPA has no authority to establish regional haze regulations. States and local officials simply surrender the interests of their constituency and future generations incrementally to the federal government for grant money, trickle-down bribery, and because of threats or perceived threats of reprisal by the federal government, like withholding grant money. Or the BRAC. The BRAC is just one threat that accompanies the implied rewards of federal funding or mission expansion for the fort for cooperation with the federal government. It is a classic case of trading liberty for the false security provided by a federal government which is in debt beyond comprehension. The importance of a BRAC in the Sierra Vista economy pales in comparison to a federal government that would refuse to provide for the common defense through military or the Border Patrol. Yes, we are in big trouble as a country, and it will not be solved by water detention basins. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby.